Hi crafty friends, it's Kathy here. If you're new, welcome to my channel, and if you're returning, welcome back. So today's video is about hot foiling and Betterpress and some of the challenges that I had and the products that I used. So I am using the Daisy Trio, the press plate and the stencils, and then also the Daisy Shower press plate and stencils. And let me just tell you right off the bat, if you think you're going to want the stencils, if you want this product, make sure you buy them, because you cannot buy the stencils separately. And I learned that because I bought the press plate for the Daisy Shower and thought I could color in the most of the stuff by myself, but turns out I'm not so good at coloring. So then I decided I wanted the stencils, and you can't buy those separately. They only come in a bundle. So I ended up repurchasing this as a bundle, and now I have another press plate that I'm gonna have to decide what I'm gonna do with. But anyways, so I bought both bundles. And the first challenge that I had is that I already made this video, and it was about 3 hours long because I made 10 cards, and I just went to go edit it, and with the technical difficulties with my camera or my computer, it would not allow me to edit the 3-hour video. So here we are, starting from scratch. I'm not going to redo the cards or the techniques. I'll just tell you how I made them and what some of my challenges were. So that was my first battle. Okay, the second battle is foiling. Now, this is the first panel I did, and as you can see, it's horrible. And I think a couple issues that happened with this is when I went to go foil, I had the paper first, then I had the foil, then the plate. So I think that's one of the things that caused us not to foil. And then also it could be the paper. So I thought, well, maybe it's the paper. So I tried another kind of paper. This is the actual Betterpress paper, and that was even worse. So then I tried a different, and this first one was a smooth cardstock. So I thought that should be fine. But then I found out what my problem was. I think that what I needed to do was I need to put the plate directly on the heat, then put the foil, and then the paper. So once I tried that, I got a better foil. However, I think my problem is with the shiny foils. So I ordered the Glimmer specialty paper, and we'll see if that does the trick. So once I tried other foils, like the satin ones, I got a better foiling. There's a little bit missing, but it's actually pretty good. I didn't have much issues with the Betterpress. I got some good imprints with that. So here's some panels that I had done previously. I showed you that one. Here's another foil that did not turn out. And again, it's a shiny foil. This is just one that I did with the Betterpress, but I didn't have it lined up right, so I ended up tossing that. Here's where I used the Betterpress paper, A2 size, and because I had to tape the corners, I couldn't get the ink there. So that's not a big deal. I can still use this. I can cut it down and make it shorter, but I had enough cards. And this one I think turned out pretty well. There's a little missing here. I think what you have to do is you just have to run it through multiple times sometimes to get the color you want. And here's one too that I did with, this might have been Dewdrops from Altenew. So I did try this Distress Oxide, and I didn't really like it. So let me just go over the cards that I did. So here's one that I made, and it says, "Have the best birthday." So what I used for this was I did use the Dewdrops for my ink on my Betterpress. Then I went in and I colored the insides with this Pink Fresh Marigold on here, and then key lime for these. And then I took my Dewdrops again with my stencil, and I did just the inner parts here. And then I took this panel, this 3D embossing folder. So I used this on a few of my cards. I love this embossing folder. It's the linen 3D. So I embossed the panel and I cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4. And I put this on the cardstock waterfall from Spellbinders. So it was pretty simple to do this one. I really liked the way it turned out. And then I embellished it with the Aura gems. So that's card number 1. Card number 2 is a similar look, but it's foiled. So this is the foil I used. I'm not sure what this one's called. I don't have it labeled, but it's a satin. So I think it came in a 4-pack. It's a satin bundle. So I will have it linked in the description. And it's a similar thing. The panel didn't turn out 100% perfect, but I thought it was good enough. So I cut out the whole panel, the largest one from the Spellbinders Perfect Touch rectangles, and then just put it directly on my card base. And for the sentiments, I used this one, and I don't think this is in stock anymore. But it's Thanks So Much, and it's Spellbinder Hexigem Sentiments. And they do have several other ones that are similar. These ones are similar, they're just a little smaller. It has a lot of the same kind of sentiments. But the reason I like these is because they're all at once. So you can glimmer or press or Betterpress them all at once and then cut them all out at once and then put your extras in your package for later. So I used the sentiment from this one. I used those Aura gems. And then I did the ink blending with the dewdrops just around this part using the stencil. So that's card number 2. Here's another foil that was pretty decent, not the best. It's just missing a little bit there. But I used, is it this one? Or is it this one? Okay, it is the other satin pastel that's a little more of the purplish look. I did find that I was having better luck with the satins. So again, I cut the panel using this biggest one for the A2 panel, mounted it just on a normal card base, and then I used the same colors. I used these marigold, but then I took a little bit of the bubble gum from Pink Fresh just on the bottom parts of the centers of the flowers right here. And again, I used the key lime for the stems. And the gems for this one, I'm not really sure what these gems are. I don't have a label. It's like a mixture of colors. I'm not really sure what it is, but it has some purples up in this, and this is more clearish. I'm not sure what this one is because it was just thrown in with my Spellbinders embellishments, and it didn't have the label with it. So there's that one. Oh, and I should show you the insides of these. I just stamped a sunflower on this one from a retired Stampin' Up! Sunflower set. On the inside of this one, I did the same thing. And same for that on the inside. Okay, here's card number 4. And for this, I used the navy for the ink. And I either used marigold or I used sunshine. I'm not really sure which one I used. And then I did not do any other coloring with the stencils other than the stems, which were also key lime. And then that's the Aura gems. And then the Thinking of You sentiment came from this retired, I don't know if it's retired or just not available. I couldn't find it on the Spellbinder site, but if I do find it, I will link it. And then, so I just cut this down with, might be this 3rd panel here from the Perfect Touch. And then again, I used the linen 3D embossing folder in white, and I cut that down to 4 by 5 1/4. And then on the inside, it's just white with the blue sunflower from the Stampin' Up! And then I think these are the Aura gems as well. It's card 4. Here's card number 5. This one is with the Daisy Showers. And this one I actually used a distressed oxide. Broken China, I think, was the one that I used for that. And it took several passes through. And it still feels a little like sticky, like it might still be a little wet. But I really do like how the color turned out. I think it's really pretty. And then so what I did for this was just the centers. And I'm pretty sure I used Sunshine or Marigold. I'm not really sure. Oh, actually, let me come back to this. On this, the card base is mounted on Stampin' Up! Night of Navy. Sorry about that. Forgot to show that. Back to this card. And so then I cut it out with these essential ovals. I just used, I'm not sure which one it is here. Let's see. Yeah, I used this one to cut out this, and then I used the next biggest size to cut the white. And then for the yellow, I used Stampin' Up! Daffodil Delight, and I ran it through this, the Spellbinders Starshine die, and I cut that to 5 1/4 by 4. And then for the gems, I used these, the teal. And then let's see, what else do I need to tell you? For the congratulations, it also came from this Hexie gem. And then on the inside, I just cut a piece of the leftover. And I just have to trim that because it's overhanging a little bit. But that's the inside of that card. So that is card number 5. I hope you guys are liking these cards. This one, again, I used this Linen 3D, and I used this one, the Daisy Showers. I'm pretty sure I used the strawberry for the ink, and then the cardstock is Stampin' Up! Petal Pink. And so basically I just use those essential ovals again, and I use 3 sizes on those. A smaller one for this, and then the white, and then the next size for that, and then I use the linen embossing folder again. It's probably one of my favorite embossing folders. And the gems are from Stampin' Up! And then this Wishing You the Brightest Birthday was also from Stampin' Up! I think that was in one of the retired stamp sets. And for the inside, again, I just used what I cut off. So that's card 6. And here's another foil I did that didn't turn out great, but I think it's okay. I'll keep it. I used this one. And you know, there's a little bit that didn't get foiled, but then there's something going on up here. It's some kind of smudged look. I'm not really sure what happened, but I didn't want to get rid of the card because I think it's still good enough. And for this, I used, I think it was this one. Thanks a million. Yes, the Always and Forever. Like I said, I love this because of the fact that you can do all of them at one time. And for the inside, I just stamped. Oh, look at this. You guys, I have gems everywhere. Okay. I use those multicolored ones again that I don't know what they are. And then for the inks, I used the Bubblegum, the Raspberry Bliss, and then for the foil on this, I used this one here. I'm not really sure which one I don't have them all labeled. Oh, I should probably show you how I store my foil. I got this from Spellbinders and I love it. I have 2 of them. And it's really easy to put together, and it just sits nicely on my shelf. I did want to show you that in case you were wondering how I stored my foil. Okay, and then again for the insides, I use the Marigold, and I ink blended just a little bit of the bubble gum on the base of the yellow. This is number 7. Okay, this one is probably my least favorite, but now that I look at it all put together, I do like it a little better. I used the black Betterpress ink to run this through, and I had to run it through about 4 times. It did take a lot to cover this, and I'm still missing some, but I think it's okay. And it actually looks navy blue to me. I'm surprised. I thought it would look more black, but I do like it now that I'm seeing it all put together. When I first did the panel, I was going to throw it away. For the insides, I used the marigold for the inside of the flowers, and then I went over them with, I think it's fruit punch, you know, just on the insides here. And I was kind of going for, you know, more yellow with orangey on the tips, but it actually turned out more of the orange. And I think that that's the Permission, or it could have been the fruit punch. I can't really remember. And then I just cut this down to, what's the size? That's 3.5 by 4.7. So this is 3.5 by 4.75. And then this yellow is, again, it's the Daffodil Delight from Stampin' Up. And I used this again, the Spellbinders Starshine, and that's cut down to the 5.25 by 4. And then this is again from that Hexagems Sentiments. And then I made this a top folding card, and on the inside I just put some of the scrap that I had cut off. And then for the gems, I used the Rouge gems. So there's that one. These two are probably my favorite. These are the last 2. Oh, you know what? Let me come back to something. On here, have the best birthday. That was using the Spellbinders Butterfly Burst. And it was just using the stamp set, and I went directly on the project with it, just using this for the ink. Okay, so back to that. Okay, so the last 2 cards. Kind of similar, but different. This was a distressed oxide. Let me see which one it was. I think it was mustard seed. And I think this was an Altenew, might have been mid-yellow. Yes, very similar though, but this was mid-yellow. Or it could have been fossilized amber. I can't remember which one of these 2 I used. I think it was actually the fossilized amber. However, there are 2 different kind of looks. So for this one, I did use the shadow stencil, and I did that with lemonade stand. And then for the center, again, I used the marigold, and then ink blended bubblegum around here. And probably went over it too with this color, the Raspberry Bliss. And I did it on the bottom of the centers as well. And the You Brighten My Day came from this one. I think. Yes, the Always and Forever. And so did the Happy Anniversary. And I used that same foil for that. And so it's similar looks. And then I used, for the arches, I used, I believe it was this one, the second from the largest. Yes, second from the largest. And then I again used the linen 3D embossing folder, but I did it on 2-2 from Spellbinders, and then just directly mounted that on my cardstock. And then the gems for this, I believe, are those same colored ones that I don't have the name of it. And then for this one, basically same techniques, except I used probably this one and this one. I think the second and third from the largest. And double matted it. So this is the 2-2 colored from Spellbinders. And for the insides, I just used what was left over. I just cut a strip. And for this one, I just did the sunflower. So those are my cards. Let's do a regroup here. I'll try to have all the products I used in the description, including the colors I used. I will say I do have some affiliate links in the description, and that just basically means if you shop through them, it helps me out, and I do appreciate that. So let's get a recap of the cards. Let's see if I can get them all in view here. So there are my 10 cards. Probably the most I've made at one time for a video. I don't think I can get them all in here. Okay, I think that's gonna have to do. So I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you do, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And also I do videos on storage and organization and card making tutorials, and I'm thinking about adding in scrapbook layouts. I haven't done a scrapbook layout in about 20 years, but I'm thinking about starting it up. So if you're interested in seeing any of those videos, please subscribe so you can get notifications when I make those videos. And I do appreciate you watching and sticking to the end. Thanks everyone. Bye.